beehive. So happy to be here and so happy to be talking to all of you. It has been a wild ride, hasn't it? A combination of scary and blessings and wow, of all years for me to have picked my word of the year to have more awareness and be aware, it definitely is the word for the year. Because I'm not only aware of my surroundings, but I'm aware of all the blessings I had and that I will have, and how much I need to pay attention to those. So it's interesting how every year my word has kind of grounded me into my surroundings. But I'm glad to be home. I'm glad to be home with all of you. It was a wild ride. We hadn't intended to make the trip for another week or two, but we got some information from someone. I was doing laundry in the laundry room, and someone walked in the laundry room and shared some information that they had gotten, and it looked like an official kind of form of some sort, and it made us decide that we needed to leave that day. And so we did. In an hour and a half, we packed up and hit the road. We were caravanning with another couple that is from Bend. And so it was kind of surreal, to say the least. So the only problem in packing that fast and hitting the road was I left my 1/4-inch foot in Tucson. So I'm going to, for the time being, have to go old school and measure and put a piece of masking tape to follow, which is how I used to do it, and it can be done. So I will do that until things settle down and I can order a new foot for my Janome. Yeah. That's small potatoes, isn't it? Yeah. When I came home, actually when I crossed the Oregon border, I almost started crying. There's something about being in the same state as my children and my friends. It's not so much, and I'm talking about my stitchy friends, because I had some, we have some wonderful friendships in Arizona, but those long-term stitchy friends, and even though we can't get together and stitch, I mean, it's just, I guess, knowing that I'm in the same state as my children and grandchildren, it was kind of a relief. And the trip home definitely made me realize that we made the right decision to come home. As we passed through Arizona and a corner of California and through Nevada to come in kind of the back way into Oregon, there were many RVers on the road, and they were boondocking. When we tried to stop in Nevada to get a campsite, it became apparent that we made the right decision to come home, because at the campsite, it's kind of like a KOA kind of campsite. We were turned away because the governor of Nevada was limiting the number of campers that could be in a campsite, and that had happened earlier that day upon our arrival. And They had room for our van because we're small, but they didn't have it. They could not fit another one. In fact, they only had one space left, and they could not even if they wanted to fit our friend's trailer. So we decided, let's go on down the road, and we found a beautiful spot that G and I had scoped out previously on other trips. Is I wonder if we can camp there. It's dry camping, and what dry camping means, for those of you that don't camp or RV, is that you don't have any hookups, so you don't have accessible water other than what you can carry, and your electricity for most people is run off of their battery or gas powered, or it can be gas powered. For us, we had solar, which really made us think solar is a way to go, because it could replenish if the sun was out. But with that, you really couldn't, you couldn't use your microwave, because that drains everything. You need hookups for that. But everybody was, there was a sense on the travel down with all those different RVers that we stayed distance from each other. And you waved, and you realized that you were all on the same journey. You were all looking to go home, kind of like birds migrating, and you wished everyone safe and speedy travel. So that was our trip home, and once we crossed into Oregon, there wasn't a lot of traffic. Those back highways, people were hunkered down already. Yeah, it was surreal in a lot of ways. But at one point, we parted ways with our friends because they were conserving gas, and the way they had to drive was much slower than we in the van could drive. And they were going to Bend, and we were going a half hour further down the road. But as we passed through Bend, and we're on the parkway, which runs kind of above the town, you can see the town on either side. It was surreal to see so many empty parking lots. I could see the backside of immediate care, St. Charles Immediate Care, and they already had their triage tents set up outside. So it's a different world right now, but we're going to all get through it. It's like my ring. My little Enzo is still talking to me, and it says, "This too shall pass." So what to do? The first 2 days here were spent basically unloading the van, cleaning the house, because 3 months we have not been here. There was like a pile of dust, and everything needed to be vacuumed and dusted and kind of made cozy again. And so we did that, and we were pretty exhausted from that. And then we decided to basically, as much as we could, stay in our home, except for some essential services, which we don't have many. I did have to pick up the pile of mail that was waiting for me, because the last month I didn't have it forwarded. So I picked that up. But other than that, G and I are staying inside, except we might, if the weather allows it sometimes, we might just drive out in the forest and walk around. Luckily, we live where there's space. There's space to do that. You can do your social distancing. I'm looking at this as an opportunity to reevaluate some of the patterns of our life. And I decided, like I saw on Facebook and Instagram, on the social media sites, a lot of people with children, all those children at home, are setting up kind of like patterns, like they need a schedule and consistency, and kind of it grounds you. And once we unloaded everything and we were just collapsing in exhaustion and we've cleaned everything, I thought to myself, I need that. I need that. So although I don't have any, it's not like the kids that they have to have lunch break scheduled and all of that. What I did decide to do for myself is to get up, not sit around in my jammies all day, actually get dressed, put some makeup on, put my earrings on, and bring some normalcy. I also am looking at this opportunity to do things that I had not been doing lately, and that was reading. I mean, actually reading, sitting down. And there's something about that, sitting down and picking up a book as opposed to audiobook and doing two things at once, which I do a lot. And so I am reading this book, which I am enjoying. And this is a book that I got in a book exchange with my book group here in Sisters. At Christmas time, we do a book exchange. And it's a great book. It's by the same author who wrote Room. But it's a great book, and I'm enjoying it already. And I'm enjoying actually quietly sitting and reading. Excuse me. The other thing I'm doing is I realized how incredibly wasteful I can be. And in these times, you can't afford to be wasteful. Things are in short supply. And so I had a bag of apples that that were in Tucson, and then I brought them in the van, and then by the time I got home, they just, you know how you like a crisp apple that you can buy, they just were kind of feeling, and in pasts, I might have thrown those apples away, but I thought, no, I can't waste anything now. And so I got out my food dryer, which had not seen the light of day forever, and I sliced up my apples and I dried them. And let me tell you, why I haven't been doing this, I have no clue. Because these are spectacular and so yummy and a great little snack. And so I did that, feeling quite smug. When I did venture out to pick up my mail, I ran into a woman that had a whole pile of masks she had made. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she was a retired OR nurse, local OR nurse. And she said, I can't remember, she said her family or her friends in Montana were were issued one mask a day. Yikes. Now that freaks me out. Not running out of toilet paper. Having our frontline warriors not having their equipment. And so she had made this whole pile of masks, and she said, would you like one? And I said, oh yeah. And I wish I could get this material. It is, she says, cotton, when you wash it, it's going to get tight enough to protect. It's better than nothing. But she had this fabric that she saved from when she was an older nurse. We are such a wasteful society, but a lot of equipment comes wrapped to protect against germs in this fabric, and for whatever reason she had saved it rather than throw it away, and now she's making all these masks. So she gave me one, which I'm going to send to my family up in Portland. And yeah, there's angels out there. There's angels everywhere. I wanted to show you one more thing. I don't know if I showed this to you, but when we were in Tucson, one of the places we like to go is Tubac. I was trying to remember that. It's an art community that's about 45 minutes further south from us, and it's just filled with art shops and beautiful. It's a beautiful little town. It reminds me of Sisters, but in the Southwest. And I saw this artist had made a bunch of these, and I had to buy this one. Isn't that amazing? Queen Bee. And then it's signed, and it hangs, and it's like polymer clay design on wood. It's just gorgeous. So it made me happy to unwrap that when I unloaded the van. So what to do? What to do in this time? I am not suffering in the beehive, and neither will you be with me talking. I do know that I am hoping to use this time as a time to make some progress on some UFOs. But one of the first quilts that I'm going to work on is a t-shirt quilt. I had a pile of t-shirts in my laundry room. They've been there forever, that my cousin Mike gave me of his, that he wanted a t-shirt quilt made. And so this morning I washed those shirts, and there are so many shirts that I might be able to make 3 lap size quilts out of those, so that he has 3 daughters, so his daughters can enjoy them too. There were so many t-shirts that when I put them in the washing machine, I put it on bulky load, and the washing machine still was squawking at me, and I had to redistribute the load. But when I'm making that t-shirt quilt, I'm sure many of you have already made one and you know how to do it, but I'll just talk you through my process of the t-shirt quilt. And I think that's the first quilt I'm going to work on. I will be continuing to, right there, do my stitching on my Sue Spargo sand dollars. Those got unpacked, and I have my Kathy Schmitz. There's just so many wonderful projects in here, and I am truly not alone with all of you out there, and we shall get through this, and we shall create, because we're creators, and we'll see each other on the other side. You all take care, socially distance, and do all the things that you want to do. And here's another suggestion. I contacted my sister's 2 children, their families, and linked them up with my family, and I said, we need a picture of the day from all the grandkids in the family so we can see them. I don't want any time to escape without seeing these children grow. So that's what we're doing in our family. Have a good day. I love you all, and stay safe.
Thanks for watching.
And be sure to like and subscribe on Quilt Roadies.